Hey guys, so as a lot of people know, I went down to Disney World and did the Disney College program last year. I applied to do it again this year, and from my experience last year of actually having the opportunity to do it, I just kind of wanted to get this video out there now, just in case I get accepted again. So there are a lot of questions that I won't necessarily have to answer 500 times. I do that enough in the parks. But so honestly, what I'm just going to tell you is it's the Disney College program. As long as you're enrolled in classes, you're eligible to do it. You have to meet whatever requirement your school sets forth for it. Mine didn't, so I didn't have to do anything. It used to be, when I found out about the college program in 2008, it used to be that you had to have, I believe, a B minus average to do it, period. So I'm kind of glad that they changed that so you only have to meet your school's requirements. Um, yeah, I went down to Disney. I worked there from the end of May of 2013 to the middle of September 2013. I was at Pizza Fari at Animal Kingdom. So quick service food and beverage was my role. Pizza Fari was my location. And I got about $8 an hour. Um, so there was that. I know the amount that I got paid wasn't really necessary, but if there are any people who are thinking about doing the program, I just want to let you know the pay is relatively close to minimum wage. Some roles are paid higher, some are paid, just a little bit higher. Like when I would pick up shifts in at ESPN or at Magic Kingdom, I wasn't picking them up within quick service food and beverage. I was picking them up in support or attractions was ESPN. When you pick up shifts that are outside of like your actual trained role, then you get paid whatever that role is paid as far as like the college program pay scale goes, instead of yours. So when I was picking up attractions and things like that, I was getting paid $7.79. Florida state minimum wage is $7.75. So it wasn't really that much higher. But when I worked at Pizza Fari, when I was in quick service food and beverage, like I said, $8 an hour. Non-tipped, but that was okay. I was really there for the experience and having the Walt Disney Company on my resume. So aside from my role and location, you do have to go through a 4-hour training course when you first get there, which everybody who works for the company has to go through. It's called Traditions. You learn all sorts of things about the park. Can't really tell you too much that goes on there, but it's a lot of history and that sort of thing. Learn about that. You get your name tags. You get your Disney ID, which is like the most important thing. That's what gets you into work. In some situations, that's actually what you use to clock in. That was not my situation. However, it's important if you're driving to the parks, you want free parking, you need to show that blue ID. It really is an important thing to have on you. And then aside from that, you do your 4-hour traditions course, then, you go through training that's more specific to your actual role and then specific to your location. Because there are different, because of the different locations, obviously there are different things you have to learn. For the different roles, same sort of idea, different things you have to learn. After you go through that, you have your assessment, you end up becoming like a regular cast member, which is kind of awesome, but then you don't have too much of an excuse to screw up because if you have your little earning my ears sticker attached to your name tag, then people understand, guests understand that, you're still learning, you might not have all the answers. But if you don't have that banner on your name tag, then sometimes guests will get mad at you. And they'll still get mad at you with your earning my ears sticker. It happens, but I mean, it's Disney. We have a high standard that we have to live up to as cast members. And then aside from that, I mean, it really is, at least the way I saw it, one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. Just because of the fact that you have to live up to such a high standard that, Walt Disney and everybody working for the Disney company has tried to uphold throughout these years. And in all reality, like when you're working for it and on the hard days, the way I got through it was just like thinking to myself, I strive to keep one man's dream alive. Like, that is why I'm here. This is what I am doing. And even though I was in, working in a restaurant and I can do that anywhere, working at a Disney restaurant is truly a one of a kind experience, at least from any restaurant I've worked at. And I mean, there are obviously other roles. You know, my friends in attractions, they love their job. I had a friend in custodial who I thought was going to hate his job because it's custodial and nobody likes to clean, but he loved it. He just loved it. And that completely surprised me. Now he's in attractions and he's not too big of a fan of it, but everybody else I knew in attractions loved it, including people that work at Rock and Roller Coaster where this guy from custodial works. So, um, you do all your training, you become a regular cast member. They also put you up in housing. There are 4 different complexes. I don't know the exact specifications for each complex, but they range in bedrooms from 1 to 4. And in my complex, in my apartment personally, there were 6 girls, and there were 3 bedrooms, so there was 2 people to each bedroom, and there were bathrooms in each of the bedrooms. That's not the case in every complex, but that was the case in mine. We had really nice balconies. They were really big. We honestly probably could have fit all 6 of us out there in sleeping bags and still had room to roll around if we wanted to sleep out there. They take your rent out of your paycheck every week. You don't even see it. Yes, you miss it, but you don't see it, so you don't miss too much of the money. If you can't make your rent one week, like you didn't work enough hours, then you just kind of go minus, if you will, but they take it out of your check the next week in addition to that week's rent. So there's that. You do, as a cast member, get into the parks for free. You have complimentary guest passes that look like this. This is your pass. This is how you get into the parks each and every time. This is how you get in. You always need this. And generally, you might need a picture ID as well if the scanners aren't working. But the fingerprint with the Mickey to Mickey seems to work out well too. Since Disney got rid of all the turnstiles and introduced the Magic Bands, which have the RFID chips in them, these cards have the RFID chips in them. So you can use these on the Mickey to Mickey, except this doesn't have a Mickey on it. Just hit it to the touch screen. It'll turn, I believe, blue. And then there's a finger pad right next to it. And you put your finger on it, same finger you use every time. Make sure you remember which one it is. And it'll light up green when you're good to go through. If you work at an actual Disney location and not one of the operating participants, like a lot of the places at Downtown Disney, you'll get guest passes. You have 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Same type of deal with this. When you have your guests with you, you go in first. The first time you use it, each one of them has their own card. Same thing with the fingerprint. But then every time after that, they can go on whatever turnstile they want. It's just the first time you use it that you have to go through a specific turnstile. But everyone needs to have the same card each time. And then, as far as the guest passes go, you have 6 of them. Each pass can get 3 people in. So, for instance, when my mom and sister came to visit me when I was down there, we went to the park. We went to Hollywood Studios for Unleash the Villains. And we went through the turnstile. They each had to have their own card, but that only counted as 1 of my 6 passes. So then the next day, when we went to the next park, that was 1 more of my passes. They are park hoppers, so you don't use, like multiple passes going into different parks if it's on the same day. They are really nice. I did enjoy having them. I wish I could have used more of them, but I'm also glad that I didn't run out. So we got through the guest passes, we got through how you get into the parks, we got through needing your ID, we got through all that sort of stuff. Now, as far as actually living, if you have the ability to bring a car with you, I highly suggest you do. They do have buses for college program participants. However, they don't always run on time. Sometimes they're full. It happens. It's like a city bus, but even less reliable. I already told you about how you need your Blue Pass to park. as a cast member. And they do collect those passes when you leave the company. So you can't even like have it afterwards and try and park in the park for free. It doesn't work. They collect them from you. Um, and then more with living. There's lots of stuff in the Orlando area. There's a lot of stuff really close to the college program housing. Three of the complexes are really close to each other, like within one of them's like 2 blocks away from the other two, and the other two are like within a block of each other, right across the street of each other, actually. And so yeah, bring car. Complexes are pretty close. There's one complex that's about a mile away from the other three, but it's right next to a Walgreens and a Chick-fil-A. And I was always there just because I always wanted to go to Walgreens or Chick-fil-A. So you get around a lot. Um, I don't really know what else to tell you. Oh, you will be poor, plain and simple. Like if you have the ability to save money before you leave, I highly suggest you do, because uh, like I said, you're gonna be poor even if you pick up shifts. I mean, they have extremely strict rules as far as like if you can have overtime or not, and college program students cannot have overtime unless it ends up happening with your shift. And I mean, you don't get paid obnoxiously well. It's, as far as I know, everybody's role is in the single digits if you're on the college program as far as pay wage. Um, they take your rent out. Yes, you get paid weekly, so it's not like yes, you have money every week, but it's never a lot. Plus, you have to take into account that, if you have your car down there, you have to pay for gas. And I mean, you're going to be buying things in the park. And while we do have cast member discounts, it's Disney. Things are still expensive. Um, you're like a starving college student, but I'd say almost even worse, because I mean, you add in all the stuff in the parks and your rent and gas if you have a car and food and just all of it, and it does become hard. Like, you will learn to pinch your pennies, and there are going to be times where you might break down from being so poor and not really knowing what to do, but I promise you, in the end, it is all worth it. It really is. So I hope that kind of answered people's questions. If not, you can contact me. I'll try to answer what I can in another video. And yeah, so have a great day, guys, and I hope it's magical.